Welcome everybody, new leads and old contacts. It is a pleasure to have you here today to listen to this new webinar, which is number 6 since the COVID emergency, which has obliged us to find a different way to communicate. In any case, we consider the webinar a very good way to better explain our technology through the voice of our experts. Today, we're going to talk about wires recycling and electric motors recycling. As usual, during the webinar, you can comment or ask any question using the chat below, and we will reply in real time or even after the webinar by email if you want to receive more detailed information. So now let's start with the presentation. My name is Luisa Macchion. I'm the marketing manager of Forrec. I've been working with this company for 13 years and I've seen the company growing, following a path which was rich of new challenges, but also full of success. Today with me, Mr. Emanuele Zilio, sales executive for Turkey, North America, Southeast Asia. Please, Emanuele, introduce yourself.
Good day, dear customers. I am Mr. Emanuele Zilio. I'm working for Forrec since 2010, so I trust to have a good experience, let's say, or at least a good overview on our customers and their recycling units. Today's agenda foresees the description and the details of wires chopping line and e-motors recycling line that we will see having something in common between each other. So welcome on board and let's start the webinar.
So thanks, Emanuele. So before going through the interesting things and the technical part of the presentation, I would like to share with you the satisfaction concerning the growing of Forrec and the success of this company. The growing of Forrec certifies that the philosophy that we apply on the market is the right way to achieve great targets. As you know, we're a company absolutely customer-oriented. So we pay a great attention to after-sales service, and all our installation and machines are as unique as DNA strands. That's why we have represented it in this slide. This means that we work and we match our skills with the knowledge of the customer in order to make some kind of tailor-made project with the goal to realize the perfect system to solve the recycling issues that our customer has. Just a few words to summarize what Forrec is. Recycling, because we're dealing with this specific sector. Relationship, because we invest a lot in the cooperations, which often become friendship with our customer. Research, so our engineers constantly work to new solutions to process any kind of scraps, but also to better the existing solutions, of course. Realize, because after a precise designing, there is always a manufacturer, an operative company. And reactive, for the efforts we daily do to be the best partner for your customers, for our customers, always ready to assist and support. Just the last two very short slides concerning our production. So these are only the main families of products included in our range. Each item has a lot of models, and each model can be adapted to customer request. So this means that the panorama of our machines is really wide and in continuous development. As you can see here, we are a manufacturer of two-shaft-shredder, four-shaft-shredders, but also rotary sharing machines for heavy products, multi-crusher for municipal solid waste and waste electrical and electronic equipment, bulky waste, single-shaft-shredder granulators for refining, and hammer mills. So 60 different models, but even more if we consider that we are going to customize each product for our customer. As a subsequent, the machines are used for different applications. For instance, the waste to energy projects, tires project, e-scrap. And when we talk about e-scrap, we're referring to a very large sector in terms of electronics, starting from refrigerator, household, washing machines, and boilers, which is a new and important project which have been realized recently. But also aluminium and very new installation. We have supplied a system for the treatment of solar panels. So this means that we do not stop our research and try to keep up with the times and the market requests. So now, Mr. Emanuele Zilio continues talking about wires recycling to start. I thank you for your attention, and I hope to see you soon in person and wish good luck to all of you.
So let's start from a few premises. Wires are not all the time the same type. In US, for instance, we have cables number 1 and cables number 2, and the difference between one and the other is in the copper content. Cable number 2, for instance, is up to 37% of copper, which is quite similar to European standard. And I'm not talking about industrial wires, so standard wires, which in Europe I came to know should be around 40% of copper. So where the copper content start to decrease, then start our commitments to have a very good separation and to achieve, as we will see later on, a very good copper quality and plastic without any copper traces. So now let's go on and let's go into the details about a possible setting of a wires recycling line. And let's forget just for a while what kind of machines there are into and what's the capacity of the line, because we will see it's something that we highly customize. And let's focus just for a while about a few items that I want to underline. The first one is that we pay a lot of attention of the suction system, not only because of some pneumatic transportation are involved, which means carry out a material from point A to point B, but we want to keep our eyes focused on the environmental protection, not only the environmental in itself, but even for having some dust-free, especially where the line is settled for the workers. So depending on the capacity of the line, we are able to tailor-made this huge suction system that sometimes can reach up to 254,000 cubic meters of involved air. The other features I want to talk about today is that we typically deliver a turnkey installation, which means complete of chillers and chilling unit, because we want to minimize the plastic melting, especially where we have hot ambient condition or hot countries. And about the electricity, let me spend a few words, because all the line you will find that the most machineries, the most energy demand machinery have their inverter installed, because we want to keep our eyes on the electricity peaks and having some flexibility even on the machine speed. And that's why the customer, thanks to these features of the line, it can have something which is very flexible, and to speed up or to decrease the machine rotation based even on the quality of the wires that we have seen before. they can vary today and even tomorrow. I forgot just for a while, and let me go back about the suction, saying that our emission are, let's say, they are stated below 5 mg for cubic meter. So you can understand that the chimney of the suction, which is pulling out the air, is absolutely very, very clean. A typical example of a wires recycling line is, a line which has a different step of shredding, starting from the whole mass represented from the wires, and we as Forrec, we have a different shredder size in the primary as well in the secondary shredder, so different size with different power, because this represents for us the flexibility to guide the project based on the achievable capacity and quality, grade of each customers. Let me spend even a few words about a couple of machineries composing the line. I want to focus today on the turbo mill that you can see in this slide, because I think is absolutely a Forrec plus for the following reason, let's say. The first one is this machine is helping to peel away the plastic from the very thin cables, especially the thin cables that typically have the lowest copper content. So that means in killing, every copper losses, and therefore and automatically increasing the plastic purity, which means without any copper fraction. And the second advantages of this machine is that in somehow treating the copper and giving to the metal, to this metal, a rounded fraction, which will be very useful in the next gravimetric tables, which are the separation tables, in order to let them working with a high efficiency as possible. The other machine which I want to focus in is our granulator, which are not blades, standard granulator, but as a particularly designed, especially in the rotor, and give us a huge advantages, especially in some cases where the material could be dirty a bit, so the customer can, let's say, killing some maintenance cost, because we can rotate, for instance, the rotor blades of this machine up to 4 times. At the end, once the wires are completely, let's say, free from any copper or aluminum, sometimes they are even mixed. We have the separations of the material, which consist not in only in one step, but is practically divided in 2 or 3 steps, depending on the line capacity. One of them is a circular screen, for instance, where we take out even the very fine copper fraction, which is generated by the shredding line. At the end, as in this slide is clearly represented, we have this huge mass as in feed material represented by this huge mass of wires, of different grade of wires, and then as a result, we have a very good plastic fraction with a high purity and a very good copper quality, which we will see later on can be separated according its size. When we speak about copper quality, we we have to give some numbers, otherwise we could create some, you know, misunderstanding. I recently visited one of our best customer, and I came to know, for instance, that the great purity of the copper is reaching sometimes even till 99.7, which is a number which is very, very aligned to the LME value. LME value, I remember, is the stock exchange, London Stock Exchange metal reference point. So the copper quality is really very high. Sometimes other customers are reaching up to 99.3, 99.4, but I want to say that you know, this very little different grade of quality depends mostly on the infeed of the material, which means as much the copper content increase, as much easier is to reach some grade or some points more compared to a low copper yield of cables. Now let's go with a video showing the treatment of the cables. In this case, we are talking about industrial cables, and this is a line able to treat up to 4 or 5 tons an hour. Let's go on with our webinar, this today agenda, and let's talking about electric motors recycling complete installations. Electric motors recycling line is a treatment line that Forrec has decided to develop thanks to the huge request we received from potential customers. And I would say even thanks to a large quantity of material available in the market. I believe, honestly speaking, because these electric motors are in somehow a stream generated by the electronic waste. So Forrec has decided to design flexible lines, and we will see later on where is this flexibility. And let's start in just a focus of the basic line represented by one hammer mill only, because the e-motors need to be rerun twice in order to get rid and to squeeze out the copper content from the e-motors in itself. So the possible setting represented by one hammer mill only is, you know, in somehow is to giving the chance to customers that want to approach to this recycling business to decrease the initial investment. The options we see are the most demanding in the market are electric motors that typically has a weight up to 15 to 20 kg each one, and a transmission shaft of maximum 22 millimeters. And with one hammer mill only, our smallest one, we can achieve up to 4 to 6 tons an hour, depending on the grade which we install it. Or as alternative, option 2 can be an infeed of electric motors to maximum 40 kg each one, and a transmission shaft of around 28-30 millimeter approximately. In this last case, the capacity with one machine can be up to 6 to 8 tons an hour in terms of throughput. So the heart of this e-motors recycling line, or electric motors recycling line, is represented by the hammer mill, which we have seen before. In case the customer has only one machine, it can easily split a big screen with a smaller one and rerun the same material twice, getting a very pure steel fraction, where the magnet drum is highly performing, and having therefore the possibility to squeeze out the copper from the meatballs as well. The downstream represented by separation by the eddy current and by some vibrating sieve along the line helps the customer to start the separation of the material which is from plastic or from steel, and having the copper wires, the free copper wires from the e-motors. In this slide, let me add something more. The black cabinet you see around the hammer mill is a soundproof cabin, because in the name of the protection of the environmental, especially for the workers, we want even to keep an eye on the sound level produced by this machine. So having this kind of enclosure helps, you know, the decrease of the dB, decibels, and having you know, a more safe yard. So here a good video showing the process of the e-motors, and especially showing the rerun concept of the dirty material in order to get rid the steel from the copper and achieving a very good quality output. As you have seen from the video, in this case, the customer is processing twice some part of the material because he has simply one hammer mill in the line. But of course, customers that are more pretending and they have even a certain budget available, instead to rerun the same material twice, they can fix online, as this slide is showing you, 2 hammer mill in line. So the process will be not interrupted, and the customer is not obliged anymore to rerun the same material twice, as we have seen in the video. The concept of running twice the same product is also for avoid any kind of losses in terms of dust. Since the e-motors content sometimes is represented even by cast aluminum, so try to imagine if you chop down immediately to a smaller size, practically you will have losses instead recovery. So this slide that you see is clearly evidencing what is the in-feed and what practically is the output. The output is a copper that, pay attention, is not 100% clean. I'm completely agree with you guys, but at least there is no traces of copper in the steel, which is very important. We will see later on if is the case to clean this copper, or if the customer decide to sell this copper as it is. This is a customer decision, but the next slides will show you this copper quality getting more valuable again. So as I was explaining before, in order to increase the copper quality fraction, in the case the customer want to, to add more investment on his line, we can set e-motors copper refining stage. It's a refining line that, except in some few machineries, has the same concept of the wires recycling line that we have seen before. So let me focus on particularly in one of the machine composing the line, which is represented by a compact hammer mill, which is I'm hardly convinced is a machine which is quite mandatory, because we have seen that this copper coming out from the e-motors sometimes may contain some foreign small bodies. So this machine, which has absolutely a low running cost, because think about, there is only 4 hammers to replace, and they are very easy and very fast to replace. And who has not this kind of machine, probably they will have a standard and a typical granulator, but the contamination of this copper get the granulator quite increases, because the customer is obliged to change frequently the rotor blades, the stator knives, to keep all the time the right distance setting between counterblades and rotor blades. So this kind of setting there is no in the vertical hammer mill. So that's why the running cost and the time you spend on the machine is absolutely lower compared to a granulator. So I suggest to look upon on this machine because it's a winning card for the copper refining stage. So same concept as we focus on the wires recycling line is represented by a dedicated suction unit, because even in this case, we want to, to keep our eyes on the dust emission control. And that's why we designed this line with a dedicated suction unit. For your better understanding, let's see this next video, which is a typical line for the copper coming from e-motors and its refining stages. Thank you very much.
So thank you very much, Emanuele. The explanation was very exhaustive and I guess also clear for all the customers who are attending this webinar. Now I shall conclude this brief presentation by talking about a side of Forrec which is a peculiar plus for us, which is the after-sales service. So thank you to our spare parts warehouse of 2,000 square meters and support team either remotely or directly at the customer's production site. We are able to support any special maintenance in a timely and effective manner. So the focus that you have to aspire to in order to do good business with the electric motors and the wires is to have a solid line, complete, with no downtime and with low production costs. So this is our focus when we provide such line for your business. So, of course, we are available for any request. And as we used to say, seeing is believing. It's just to inform you that our installation are real and our customers too. So we can show you our technology in action, both in our premises, in our testing area, with the possibility to do in-house tests with your own products, and or sometimes by some warm and hospitable customers who are using Forrec machines. You can also visit our website, which is always updated with our news, or our YouTube channel. Okay, so dial the number and call us. You can ask for the help of our expert to choose a shredder. Professional experience allows you to advise the customer at best. And 30 years of experience in the field is a goal achieved for us. So we are at the end of this journey, and I hope you did enjoy this virtual tour on wires and e-motors recycling technology. And I would like to close with this motto, which is profit is not a dirty word. I guess you understood from our presentation. I thank you very much for your patience and also for the attention. Here are all our contacts, and there is still time for questions or comments that you can leave using the chat below. Thanks again, and see you soon, maybe in person. Have a nice time.